Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, once again, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you're tuned in to season two, damn it, two, to Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast. If you know me, you know I'm your boy Jay Riddy in the building. Of course, if I'm here, you know my co-hosts are in the building. Of course, we got the lovely Lady Great One in the building. Say hi to the people.
What's up, people? You know how it is. Swears and curves coming at you.
Also returning for the first time in season two, also in the building, we got Mr. VIP. You gonna speak to the people? You gonna let them know that you're there? Mr. VIP? I think he got his VIP pass revoked. Anyway, while we're waiting to get Mr. VIP back connected in, we can go ahead and hit our damn music.
Hello, hello. Radio World. Anybody out there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, Mr. VIP in the building.
What's up? What's up? Having a little technical difficulties.
It's all good. It's all good. We're all human. It's all mistakes happen. Technical difficulties happen. We're not perfect. I have technical difficulties all the time. So what we're going to talk about tonight, guys, we did, of course, our prediction show 2 weeks ago with me and Lady Great One coming up on the Survivor Series 2018 pay-per-view, as well as some of the predictions for the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view. Which we missed one match, which really wasn't worth talking about because it ended, less than 30 seconds. So we'll jump right into that. First and foremost, let's talk about Survivor Series as a whole. If you guys gave a rating, of course, we always got to get our Meltzer on. Shout out to Dave Meltzer out there. Out of a score between 1 to 10, what would you rate Survivor Series?
Survivor Series, maybe a 6 or 7.
6 or 7. So, what makes that rating a 6 or 7? What do you think makes it a 6 or 7? What matches or what happens for it to be that, so for you to give that rating?
I mean, they had some pretty good matches. I just didn't like the clean sweep of Raw, and like the main event. Well, not the main event. The Survivor Series main event. Just having Shane McMahon on SmackDown's team. It was just an imbalance. It was like you have all these massive guys on Raw's team, and then the biggest person you had was Samoa Joe. He gets put out in a second, and then you have Shane again when there was other people who other wrestlers that could have took his place, could have been on the team. That just kind of ruined it for me. Mm-hmm. just didn't seem like it was an even fight for most of the matches.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with that being said, a 6 or 7 is still kind of high for you to be not very high on it. So what made you? What were some of the better things that happened on the pay-per-view?
Well, the Shinsuke and Seth Rollins match, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
The Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan, it was started off like I thought they were going to do, but it finally started to turn and got a little better when they actually, Daniel was fighting back some. That was a surprise that it was better than I thought it was going to be, because I was, thinking it was going to be like the first couple minutes of just Brock beating the hell out of him and then just pinning him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had good matches. It's just the way that, they had just Raw just completely dominate them. I mean, it kind of made, it really was like, we're the A show, we're the A, B, and C show, and SmackDown is nothing. Y'all couldn't win any match except for the pre-show, and they don't even count that one. So it made SmackDown look really, really weak.
Okay.
And the fact that even when AJ lost the title, why didn't y'all put AJ as the other person and take Shane McMahon's place? That would at least give some more credibility and a little more fight to SmackDown side. Or Randy Orton. You had big names that you didn't put on your team.
Okay. Lady Great One?
Well, in my opinion, I give Survivor Series an 8. And 99.9% of that came from the women. Not as much as the women's Survivor Series match. However, the Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey match. That beatdown that Ronda Rousey took at the hands of Charlotte Flair, the Queen, was absolutely woo! Just, for lack of a better word, glorious. I mean, Charlotte turned on the jets. She beat the brakes off of Ronda Rousey. That right there was the most entertaining thing in the world to me. Now, granted, I am a Ronda fan. I like Ronda Rousey. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen out here in the WWE universe, the Game Runners world, marking out amongst friends. Never denied that I am a Ronda Rousey fan. However, I am a Charlotte fan too. So this was just great for me. So that right there alone scores at least a 6. Now, where the other parts came in to make it an 8 to me, Daniel Bryan actually had a fight. He did more with Brock Lesnar than most other people have been able to do against Brock Lesnar. That was extremely entertaining. Yes, Brock came out on top, of course, which I knew he was, but it actually made it interesting. There was a couple times in which you thought, oh my God, Daniel Bryan's actually going to beat him. He didn't, but there were times in which he thought that there was a glimmer of hope for Daniel Bryan. So that, in turn, made it more entertaining. I can't agree with Mr. VIP when it comes to talking about the 5-on-5 Benz match. You could have picked anybody but Shane McMahon. Like, your whole SmackDown roster, you could have put Andrade Cien Almas in that spot. You could have put AJ Styles in that spot. You could have put Rusev in that spot. You could have put anybody else other than Shane McMahon in that spot to give other people more of a chance. But yet, you go with Shane McMahon, and you see how quickly and how easily that worked out for him. Samoa Joe really didn't even want to be like he was on the team, and he was out within 30 seconds. So I agree with Mr. VIP there. That one was a downside. And the whole PP on yourself spot, yeah, it was hilarious. But at the same time, it was like, seriously, you couldn't come up with anything else, any other reason why AOP shouldn't be dominant besides having Drake Maverick piss himself. Come on now.
And that took too long.
Yes. Not only did it take too long, but the simple fact is, I think he actually had to pee himself because his mechanism wasn't working.
So, yeah, it didn't look right because he was just standing there like staring down, like, come on, work. And then, oh shoot, it's still not working. Come on, work. And they're just like standing there for like ever, just come on, I can't get it to work. So it made it look really bad how long they took to do it.
But the biggest problem I have with that is like, okay, AOP cannot win without some antics from Drake Maverick. That's where my stand is on that. But other than that, everybody else did a great job. The women's Survivor Series match, yeah, I didn't see everybody turning on Sasha and Bayley, or Nia, should I say, turning on Sasha and Bayley there in the middle of the match. Asuka and Nia being the last two women. Yeah. Mandy Rose showed out. Big props there to Mandy Rose. I have to say that every week by week I'm getting more and more entertained by Mandy Rose. So good job, Mandy Rose. And other than that, like I said, the whole thing, I give it an 8. I might be generous, but that's how I am.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna surprise you here. I'm actually gonna be right there with you. I'm gonna actually give it probably an 8.25, so to speak.
Oh, what? What the heck? What is going on?
Now, as I was watching the pay-per-view, this is exactly what my thought process was. There was not really a bad match on the card. While there was some questionable booking, which it's not WWE if there's not questionable booking. I mean, let's be serious. But there was questionable booking, but it wasn't really a bad match. As far as the AOP versus the Bar match, I thought you got 4 big heavy hitters in the ring. And then with the Big Show on the outside, what else did you expect for them to use Drake Maverick for, so to speak? I mean, he wasn't going to fend off the Big Show if Big Show got involved. So, I mean, you got to have something that he can do to serve as a distraction while Big Show has him hemmed up in order for AOP to come in and pick up the victory. Once again, that's not saying that AOP is not capable of beating the Bar straight up, because, I mean, they definitely are. But, I mean, you got to do something with Drake Maverick out there. I mean, he's not going to get involved, so I'm not upset at that. As far as it taking too long, I mean, it took him a little while to get his whole mechanism together, but, I mean, all in all, it was the shortest match of the night. Every match went at least 14 minutes other than this match, which went less than 10. So, I mean, you know, also I put it to the mindset of Survivor Series ever since the brand splits that they've done on and off over the last, decade or so, has always been somewhat of an all-star weekend, so to speak, similar to the NBA All-Star Game, in the NBA, or the Pro Bowl in the NFL. It's one side versus another side, heels and faces coming together, things like that. And for
excuse me, I'm sorry to hate to interrupt you, but the only problem is people actually care about Survivor Series. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. You might watch the MLB or the NBA All-Star Game, but really, do you sit back and watch the Pro Bowl? The NFL Pro Bowl, really? Do you?
No, not really. But then again,
I
can't remember the last.
You get to say the MLB All-Star Game or the NBA All-Star Game. Don't bring the Pro Bowl in this. Don't hurt the Survivor Series like that.
It's just the concept, man. It's the concept, is what I'm saying. Especially because heels and faces are coming together on both sides to try to establish brand supremacy. It's just like, in any other sport, it's like conference supremacy. And in most situations, usually the red side is the side that everybody thinks is the more dominant side. You brought up the MLB. Everybody always says the American League is more successful than the National League. In the NBA, they say the Western Conference is more successful than the blue side, the Eastern Conference. In football, they say that the AFC is a much stronger competition than the NFC, so to speak. And at this pay-per-view, Raw definitely proved that it's no different in the WWE as well, as Raw dominated, absolutely obliterated SmackDown throughout this whole pay-per-view. But one thing that I loved about this pay-per-view that nobody else mentioned so far is this was, from what I've seen, the first time that the WWE Cruiserweight Championship was put up for grabs since its return on the main card of a pay-per-view. They put the tag team Survivor Series match on the pre-show to allow Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali to put on a clinic on the main card. And for them to have the confidence to do that on a big weekend that's one of the big four, that makes me realize that they're going to start making 205 Live more legitimate or a bigger part of WWE going forward. But all in all, like you said, the Brock Lesnar match was good. The Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte match, even before the great sequence that happened to cause the disqualification, was already shaping up to be a pretty good match. The Raw versus SmackDown match for the men's was, it was pretty much utter domination. We knew that was going to happen. I mean, you got four powerhouses. Three powerhouses and two little guys versus Samoa Joe and a bunch of old guys. So, I mean, we knew who was going to win that match. Of course, Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura tore it down. Of course, the women's match was actually good. I love that Nia Jax is basking on the heat from the whole Becky Lynch situation, and she is going to end up being probably the biggest heel on Raw, especially with Alexa Bliss now being sidelined and reduced to a assistant GM role. But all in all, like I said, with the pay-per-view itself, I give Survivor Series an 8.5. I was thoroughly impressed.
Okay. It's been a little bit. I forgot about the cruiserweight match. That was an amazing match, and to hear the crowd start chanting 205, 205, I was like, finally, they are getting some respect.
And it's and the thing that I love about that is that type of match that they put on at the pay-per-view is every single title defense that they have on 205 Live. Every Cruiserweight Championship match is on that level. When Cedric Alexander was champion, he was putting up that segment, that type of match, every single pay-per-view on the pre-show, every single dark match that he had a title match for. I remember when we went to go see SmackDown in Durham, and Cedric Alexander came out and had a dark match against Buddy Murphy. It wasn't a dark match. He had a title match on 205 Live. Tore the house down. Nobody made any noise. I was the only one shouting, like, why is nobody cheering for this? But these are the same people that will tell you online that, NXT is the A show and blah, blah, blah. But when it's not NXT, when you're not capping for other wrestling fans, they're putting on a clinic on 205 Live and nobody's talking about it.
You're right. And that's why, we have the Raws and stuff we have now, because you have the 205 and nobody's caring about it. So they give them the crap that we had on Raw. Mm-hmm. But they finally, like I said, they finally went on and let them be on the main show, and they showed what they could do. Prove that, we deserve to be on the main show, not on the pre-show, and they killed it. And somebody had to be listening the multiple times when we started hearing 205, this is awesome, because they had like 3 or 4 chants, and they did, like, every time they fight, they do some stuff I've never seen before, and they killed it.
I must concur. I mean, I can't deny anything that you fellas have said there. I mean, 205 Live, they bring it all the time. They are the most underrated out of all the talent. Everybody talks about NXT. Everybody talks about how shitty or how great Raw was. Everybody talks about how good SmackDown was with the man. I mean, got to give it up to the man there, Becky Lynch. One time, I've never been a huge Becky Lynch supporter, but I love the man. I'm not gonna lie to you there. She had gotten stale to me, and now I'm back in Becky Lynch's corner where I should have been the whole time. But I digress. 205 Live has always been underrated, overshadowed, just like skipped over by everybody. Mr. VIP, I know you can attest to that because there have been a few weeks where you had skipped watching 205 Live. And I must admit, I've done it as well. I know you have as well, Jay Riddy. But yes, there have been times in which I've missed 205 Live. And every time I watch it, I say to myself, man, why am I missing this show? Maybe because it's only on the network, it's only available there. Maybe because of the time that it's on. It comes on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. It's hard for me to catch it. I'm at work. But every single time I see one of their matches, especially when you involve Mustafa Ali, he is, my opinion, they describe it right. He is the heart of 205 Live. They gave him that moniker for a reason. And every match I see him in, he puts in so much heart, so much effort. And I love the fact that not only is he not American, obviously, we all know that, but the fact that he is not portrayed as a foreign villain is worlds above where everybody else puts him in. So with Mustafa Ali, I can honestly say I have been a fan of his since day one, and I will continue to be a fan of his, heel or face, regardless of that, because he is just that damn good. He is the whole freaking show. Shout out to RVD there. The whole damn show.
Damn right. I just want to let the record be known as well before we move on to talking about TakeOver. I told you that Raw was going to win, and Raw dominated. Now, I didn't think that Raw was going to come in there and body bag 6-0 on the main card, but I told you once Shane McMahon won the best in the world at Crown Jewel, I said he's the SmackDown GM and he's on the SmackDown roster. So basically, if they win the best in the world tournament, that means they won that pay-per-view. Raw is not about to lose on one of the big four right after they just gave Shane McMahon the best in the world trophy. So I knew Raw was going to come out with more victories on the main card, but whew, Jesus.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, I said it was going to be 4-3 in favor of Raw. I did say that. Though, don't get it twisted. You can go back, you can look at the footage. I said it was going to be in favor of Raw. I said I would love to see SmackDown have won, but all in all, it's going to be in favor of Raw. I did not believe a clean sweep either. We disagreed on a couple of matches there, but at the end of the day, I said that Raw was going to win.
Well, I mean, you say that now, but I mean, we can't run the footage back right now, so to speak. But that's neither here nor there. Moving on to NXT TakeOver. Of course, NXT TakeOver was the prior night, November 17th. Now, I will be the first to admit I did not watch the pay-per-view.
It's like a damn man to completely disregard what a woman says.
You know what? It's not even on anything, any type of prejudice or any type of sexist opinion, It's just that I'm right and I'm great. And I just want to let it be known that I'm right and I'm great. But once again,
I'll let you have this one victory, but still, at the end of the day, go back and look at the footage. I said the same damn thing as you did. We agreed too fucking much on that.
Feisty. Woo. Okay. As far as NXT TakeOver War Games, now, I love the fact that they are bringing back War Games for NXT. And I'm glad that this is becoming a pivotal part of the TakeOver show. Now, I will be the first to admit for the second NXT War Games, I did not watch this live. Of course, if you know me personally, that day was my wife. That was her birthday, so I couldn't be caught watching a pay-per-view and spending time watching a pay-per-view on my wife's birthday. Not if I want to stay married. But I did go back and watch the pay-per-view afterwards, and I do want to say that, of course, this is something that we come to expect, that NXT had a great pay-per-view. However, think that this was the best pay-per-view that NXT has shown. As a matter of fact, as far as the takeovers I've seen, this might be towards the bottom of some of the takeovers. And it's not to say that it was bad. It just didn't meet the overall hype that I wanted it to be, so to speak. What did you guys think of the pay-per-view? Did you guys watch it?
Yes, of course I watched it. I completely disagree with you. The only thing I will say, the women's match wasn't as good as their other matches. Mm-hmm. That part is true. That didn't live up. I mean, I know they were trying to bring in the other horsewomen, and Io Shirai's moonsault was amazing. It was an okay match, but it didn't live up to the other matches. But the rest of the card, Velveteen Dream, my God, lived up to everything and more. That match was amazing. That's pretty much all I have to say. That match right there was 10 stars, and you could have went on and ended the show at that. The rest of the pay-per-view with 5-star matches could have ended the show, except for the women's. But yeah, the Velveteen Dream, that match was amazing. The Gargano and Aleister Black, that was good. I love the story. It's still kind of weird seeing Gargano as a bad guy. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't fit yet. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's just what we've seen of his character the whole time. It doesn't seem like he should be a bad guy, especially not right now. The story of him taking him out, I can see, yeah, you were taking him out because I wanted this to be one-on-one with Ciampa, but I'm sorry, it wasn't nothing personal. You could have said that, but for him to just act like, yeah, I did it, now I'm bad, that didn't make a lot of sense with everything happened with Ciampa. But the match was amazing. War Games, like you said, them bringing back War Games and making it exclusive for NXT, because the regular roster I don't think would have been able to do it as well. War Games, I like it being the singles instead of the tag team. We got to see a lot of people show off. It had a lot of spots that just was like, oh my God, and it's just such a unique match that it garners so much attention to it every time they have it.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to move on to Lady Great One right here, but I just want to make a quick comment before I pass the mic over to Lady Great One really quick. Now, I said, once again, I didn't say that this was a bad pay-per-view per se. I just don't think it's one of the best takeovers that I've seen. Now, you said you disagreed, but then you proceeded, when you were describing the show, to really boost 1.5 matches, and you didn't really spend a lot of time talking about the other 3. You completely disregarded Matt Riddle beating Cassius Ohno in 7 seconds.
Well, okay, yeah. We'll see what happened. I barely even saw that match.
So did we. Nobody barely saw the match.
No,
Cassius Ohno barely saw the match.
I mean, come on now.
When I turned it on, I thought it was the pre-show. I didn't know the show had already started. So I thought there was a pre-show match. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is the actual pay-per-view? Oh, shoot. But, yeah, that, okay, I'm going to talk about that one. That was, wow. That's basically, he got knocked out. I like Matt Riddle.
You got knocked out.
I really, really like him. I like Cassius. He has to lose weight. He's never going to do anything until he gets at least better in shape. and especially with somebody like Matt Riddle, who, you know, can basically do the knees and elbows, and former UFC fighter. I mean, you know, in order for him to not be released again, Cash is going to have to lose some weight to be able to stay in NXT, or if he's ever able to come up to the main roster. Mm-hmm. But Riddle, yeah, he knocked the hell out of him. And that bro, that dude is raw. I watched him, seen some matches of him on the Independence before he came, and I was like, I'm really impressed. This dude is going to be really raw. I really like him.
All right. Well, Lady Great One.
Okay. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do a little match by match, just like he did as well. So the Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno match, that right there, out of 5, I'm going to go ahead and give that one, since it really wasn't a match, this was just a straight clean knockout in 7 seconds. That's how long the whole thing lasted. That right there garners a 1 star. That really wasn't a match. That was just like, hey, guess what? I caught you slipping. That wasn't a match. That was I caught you slipping. Now, moving on. Shayna versus Kairi for the women's title. This match I had higher hopes for. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm glad that it didn't go 1 fall and then like 2 falls and then back and forth for the third. It went 1 fall, 1 fall, then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, I need help. Boom. There's my second fall. So I'm glad that it lasted a little bit longer. And yes, it showed that, okay, the other 2 horsewomen are coming into play. You got to see Dakota Kai come out. You got to see Io Shirai come out and help Kairi Sane. And Io Shirai's absolutely wonderful fucking moonsault, which she is the genius of the ropes for a reason. Yes, or genius of the sky, excuse me, not ropes, but genius of the sky. Genius of the ropes is Grand Metalik. But once again, that match to me was a 3.5. It could have been better. It could have been a solid 4.5 star match, but there were times in which it felt a little slow. Things were not quite in rhythm where they should have been, or spots could have been done a little bit better. Now, going on to Gargano versus Black. 5 stars. That's all I can say about that. That match was great. There was not a dull spot in that match. There was good back and forth. There was good rapport between them. The chemistry was there. Everything told a story. It was like, okay, I got to stoop down to this level. Johnny Gargano come through to the dark side. Everything on that match to me was on point. Now, continuing on, moving to the Tommaso Ciampa Velveteen Dream match. That was the match that I was most looking forward to. That match could have main evented. That's all I have to say about that. That match could have been a main event and everybody would have walked home satisfied regardless of the War Games match, because that match was the whole effing show. That match was so good. There was no spot in which like they were taunting each other back and forth. They had some great chemistry. I mean, once again, just like in the previous match, there was great chemistry. There was great back and forth. There were times in which you thought that, oh, Velveteen's gonna pull it off. He's actually gonna win the title. No, not quite yet. It had everything that you wanted to see in a wrestling match. Tommaso Ciampa did come on top, but I have to say that is my favorite Velveteen Dream match to date. Now, last but not least, War Games. Those boys showed out. Undisputed Era showed out. War Raiders showed out. Ricochet showed out. Pete Dunne, despite getting locked in the cage and being held a little bit longer to even get into the ring, showed out. That was a great match. Not to mention that Tree of Woes style power bomb where freaking Rowe or Hanson, I can't remember which one it was, but he climbed up there and basically power bombed the whole damn field. That was great. I mean, the Undisputed Era, they never miss a beat. They're always so good to me. And then for the other four to come together, not even affiliated with each other, really, besides Hanson and Rowe, which are the War Raiders. What else can I say? That was a great match. That was honestly another 5-star match. So my total card rating for that was a 4.75. It could have been a 5 out of 5 if the women's match had been a little bit better, or if the Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno match. Actually, I'll take that for the wow factor, because nobody would have thought that in that quick of a time, in that 7 seconds, that would have gotten knocked out. So, great job, NXT, as always. 4.75 out of 5.
I'm going to say a 4 out of 5. And I'm barely giving it that 4. A lot of it is just really mainly to do with the Velveteen Dream match and the War Games match, which, the War Raiders are pretty good. I'm really still not big on the name. I think they are good for them to be that size. They're very impactful. They move very quickly. A lot of high impact. Everybody did show out in that match. Those were, if there were 2 matches that if I wanted to show people what NXT was all about, both of those would be matches that you would show. However, those were the only 2 matches that were like, oh my goodness. Like the Aleister Black versus Gargano match, like Mr. VIP said earlier, it's kind of hard to really wrap my mind around Gargano being a heel right now. Not to say that the match was the match was really good. It wasn't the greatest match ever. It wasn't the best Gargano match I've seen. It wasn't even really the best Aleister Black match that I've ever seen. But it was good. But other than that, like, if I weighed the whole show on just the main 2 matches, the championship match and the War Games match, then yeah, I could rate it really, really, really high. But it was a solid 4 out of 5. Or if we're putting it, on the rating like we did SmackDown, if I was to give it out of 10, it's an 8 out of 10. Dare I say it? And a lot of people out there would disagree. I'll probably get some hate mail and some death threats, but this might be the one time that I say that that the main roster put on a better show than in NXT.
Okay, you're getting your first one from me, because there is no way the Survivor Series was better than TakeOver. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I love you to death, JB. Don't get me wrong. However, 4.75 to a 4. I mean, come on now. A 4 from Survivor Series, 4.75 to TakeOver.
A 4.75.
Really, you got to see where I'm coming from.
A 4.75 is almost perfection. A 5 is perfection. I can't give it perfection if I knocked, 2.5 of the 5 matches that were on the card. So, I mean, I personally can't do it. Yeah, those 2 matches, the War Games match and the championship match, were great, but outside of that,
Okay, so you don't think that Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black put on a 5-star match like I did?
No.
I don't know what you're smoking, but I'm not sure if I want any of it.
Nothing today, actually. I've been pretty sober. But I mean, it's not a knock against.
I may be able to see what you're saying on Aleister Black and Gargano. There was only a couple times where like it went kind of slow, like they took a little too much time doing certain things. But once they started going again, it made up for it. But there was a couple times that like they just stopped and were either just taunting each other or other stuff that may have made it kind of it messed up the momentum that they had with a couple of spots. I can see that part. But like I said, I mean, it was still an amazing match, and like I said, the other two matches were amazing. Survivor Series, I don't know if Survivor Series is better, but it was the closest to being as good as TakeOver. The main roster didn't get killed like they usually, TakeOver is amazing, and then the main roster show is Survivor Series was good. It's just, like I said before, once you started having Raw win so many matches, and you look at the scorecard and you're like, well, I know that they're not going to win the Survivor Series match, and we pretty much knew Brock wasn't going to lose. So you like, well, at a certain point, you're like, well, they're not going to win anything. But I think it was the closest between the two that both of them were pretty good matches until it got to Raw.
I say my highest rating came off of that was mainly because of the 205 match. That really was the one that took it off from me. And that's what gave me a 4 in comparison, because of the 205 live match. And take everything out of it, that was just a nil, usual, just like average pay-per-view. I'm sorry. My opinions might not be what y'all want to hear, but despite the 205 live match and the beatdown of Ronda Rousey, those were the two highlights of that whole daggum pay-per-view.
Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't great.
Seth and Nakamura.
Shinsuke. Now, I will say that Seth and Shinsuke were a big part of why they got a 4 out of 5.
Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar wasn't great. Like, a lot of great matches, man.
I mean, yeah, those matches were great, but I'm just saying, like, come on, really? The whole 5 versus 5 men's SmackDown Survivor Series style match, really? Come on now. That match was a 2 at best.
You remember I told you on the phone that Raw was going to kill them in that match. There's not a matchup when you have Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre,
and Bobby
just
Lashley.
them two and Bobby Lashley on one team. Just them 3 guys on one team. And you look at anybody else on the other team besides Samoa Joe, it doesn't stand up. As we saw, Strowman just said bam, 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 and beat all of them. After Drew hit 1, he just basically tag you in, bam, beat you. Come on in, bam, beat you. Come on in, bam, beat you. There wasn't nobody that was going to be even close to stopping them 3.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. I thought that match was trash.
Even if you would have put AJ Styles in that match and replaced Shane McMahon, what was Styles going to do against those 3?
He would have at least put up a better fight. You could have had. He would at least been able to do something against them. They're not gonna. AJ ain't gonna just get beat by any of them. Now Braun, he may be able. It's gonna be a hard thing, but him and Drew would have had a good match. Dolph would have had a good match. Him and Bobby would have had an okay.
Dolph wasn't in that match.
I thought okay.
Who?
But I thought
Dolph was in the match.
He was? Yeah, that's how inconsequential Dolph Ziggler was. Next.
First. He was the only person logically that could have been beat, basically.
Finn Balor was on Team Raw too. It's just, but this is exactly what I said on the prediction show. I said, you got Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Bobby Lashley on one team. You got a former world champion, two future world champions, all huge powerhouses. Then you, on the wrestling side, you got Dolph Ziggler and Finn Balor. I don't care what SmackDown would have put out there. Like I said, if you replaced AJ Styles with Shane McMahon, you got The Miz, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Jeff Hardy. That is still not matching up to that 5. I don't care what anybody says.
Like I said, it's not going to match up. It would have been a better. It's not going to. They should have put like Randy Orton. At least Orton would have been able to cut any one of them, and that could have gave them more of a potential. They should have at least had Orton and AJ BJ been put on a team, and then not have Samoa
Not
Joe.
to mention Rusev. In my opinion, Rusev should have been in there. You should have had Rusev instead of, no offense, don't take this away, but Rusev should have been in there instead of Miz.
Yeah.
They could have stood at least a little bit better of a chance. Now, granted, I'm 100% behind the Miz. And if Miz would have been the captain, you could have replaced Jeff Hardy with Rusev.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was my thing. I would have said I replaced Jeff before I replaced anybody else other than Shane.
Yeah, and I completely understand that, and I agree with both of you guys. That right there, that match in whole, that brought down the whole pay-per-view. That one was the one that brought it down, not to mention the women's side of it. I mean, okay, Nia and her lucky punch.
Oh, here we go.
I mean,
she's not lucky. That was a knockout.
Here we go.
She's not like most women.
She's not. There was not a woman like her in that match, other than maybe her cousin. You know.
SmackDown really only had Asuka. Really, I mean, and then, like you said, they had Nia and Tamina. I mean, it's not really who's going to stop them.
Mm-hmm. And Nia took out one of her teammates to still get the win.
I hate it. I really hate it that they treated Naomi the way that they did. Yes, I'm still in Naomi's corner. I don't care what y'all say. I'm still in Naomi's corner. I'm going to be in Naomi's corner till the end. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. But Naomi and Asuka should have been the last two. There's no reason why Naomi should have been eliminated first. Mandy Rose, I am happy with how Mandy Rose has been doing as of late.
I told you she was wrong. I already told you she was wrong.
And I completely understand that, and I see why you say that. But as of late, they've really stepped up Mandy Rose. Now, Sonya Deville, I'm 50-50 on. Like, I can take or I can see Sonya Deville. But I love the whole putting hair up. I love the whole...
Go on, I'm sorry.
Every time I say something, you start to talk again. I love the whole hair up and square up. I like that. And I like the passion that she looks like she has in that. So, yeah, I'm cool with Sonya Deville. But, excuse me, in all honesty, though, yes, they had no rebound. They had no way. You couldn't have put anybody else in that match that would have made it any better. Yeah, Charlotte, you could have put her in there like originally slated. But once again, it would have came down to Asuka and Charlotte for the SmackDown side and everybody else on the Raw side.
Yeah,
I think, in my opinion, should have been on the Raw women's team. But
I'm happy that Charlotte wasn't there.
Say what?
I'm happy Charlotte wasn't in that match. It would have been all about Charlotte.
But that's the only way to SmackDown would. Asuka and Charlotte would really be the only two that would have a chance. And since they are making Asuka not as strong or not as impressive, and they don't really have anybody else built up, like if they had built up Sonya Deville to be more of a threat, then maybe it would be a little more like, oh, shoot, you know, she's in there. But nobody else really on SmackDown is a threat to anybody. Like when Becky got hurt and she's like, who am I going to pick? You only had two choices to go against Ronda. It's either Charlotte or Asuka. That's it. Nobody else was even a thought. So you don't have anybody else that really would have even been able to go up against Nia. And then you had Nia, Becky, and Sasha. The SmackDown women's it's so lopsided how the women's were and the men's. They didn't have enough against the Raw side. Raw's just had too many people that are unstoppable, and SmackDown just doesn't have that kind of power or anybody that's anybody that's like, oh shoot, this person gonna come in there and destroy. And like I said, they took the, Asuka couldn't do it all by herself. Everybody else is pretty much gone. And then just like with the men's, I mean, once Samoa Joe got knocked out in the second, you're like, well, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. That was like,
and the thing is, they should have never had. He should have not have started it. Mm-hmm. It should have been. He should have waited. All these other people fighting. He just sitting there waiting, and then tag him in, and now, oh shoot, now you got somebody that can at least go with some of these people. But you put him out there first. Well, you put your power out first. That was your secret weapon.
That, in a way, in my opinion, is Samoa Joe had this attitude. I don't care. I really don't want to be here anyway. So let me go ahead and get out and be done with this crap because I already know we're going to lose. That's the attitude that I saw from Samoa Joe, and I don't blame him. You put Shane McMahon for the third year consecutively in a row in a Survivor Series match when you've got other options, better options out there on the field. I wouldn't want anything to do with it either. I would have pulled a Samoa Joe and been like, okay, let me go ahead and get eliminated and get out this crap.
I mean, there was no way you were going to get booked over Raw. So let me put it this way. Imagine in 2001 in a Survivor Series match and you have Kane, Big Show, and The Undertaker on one side. And the other side, let's say it has Shawn Michaels on it or Bret Hart, which we know both of these guys are probably two of the best wrestlers of all time. You're still not going to look at this match like, man, I wonder how Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are going to pull this one out. No, you're like, these guys are about to get mauled. You about to get the hell behind you. Like,
yeah.
I don't care how great you are, but in this matchup, you just don't match up well on paper. Like, there's weight classes for a reason in MMA and in boxing. And I think wrestling is the only thing where people don't want weight to matter when it does. Size matters, people. That's what she said. But yeah, size definitely matters. Like, if you got Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Bobby Lashley on one team, and I don't even think SmackDown has 3 powerhouses on their show, much less for this match. It's like, why are we even competing?
You could have gave them Rusev. At least that would have tipped the scales a little bit better. Rusev would have tipped the scales a little bit more.
That's the only power they have. What they should have done is they should have had, they did that thing with Laura Sullivan earlier. Shane McMahon should have been like, you know what? I'm gonna take myself out, and I'm gonna bring somebody else in our newest acquisition, and Laura Sullivan come out. Then it would be a little more equal.
That would have been really big for Laura Sullivan.
That would have made it more like, oh shit, because that's a big dude, and that's a big.
That would have been incredible. Yes, I agree.
That would have helped.
That would have been really big for Braun.
Yeah, but just SmackDown's normal roster, they have no other powerhouse. Rusev, unless they brought, I think he was already in the match, but unless they had Big E, but I think he was already fighting. So, other than
could have brought John Cena in because he is a free agent. He could have went to either side.
John Cena's in China.
Yeah.
Cena could have made a difference.
John Cena's in China.
Yeah. We're trying not to rely on just having to bring Cena back.
Yes, I mean, I understand what they did because, like you said, you don't want to lean on Cena. You really don't even want to lean on Randy Orton. But it's like SmackDown is just so 2008 right now. It's like it's nothing really but old guys on the show. Like Randy Orton. Now you brought back Rey Mysterio. You already brought back Jeff Hardy. You already brought back Shelton Benjamin. It's just like, who are you going to put in this match that's going to be on the same, profile? Like, put it this way. SmackDown is overrun by heels right now to the point where AJ Styles is the only...
I agree there.
AJ Styles is the only worth a damn face on the whole show. They've turned Rusev face. So I can say Rusev is the face for mid-card right now. Him and, Shinsuke are about to have their feud. But... other than those two guys, there's not really somebody on SmackDown that's like the upper echelon face. And to be honest, it's the same with Raw, but it's Raw. Raw is only in that predicament right now because they're missing their top two faces. Roman Reigns is out from illness. Braun Strowman is now out for surgery, and pretty much the biggest face that you have, not named Seth Rollins, is Finn Balor. So I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Like, and this is one of the things.
They're just starting to turn with Elias, so he's not completely, you know, got the fans behind him as a good guy yet. So
now he's huge. He's supremely over, but it's like you just turn him face. Like you said, so it's just like, you know, he doesn't even have like. What happened?
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt you guys, but you messed up when you didn't take advantage of the Bobby Roode factor. When you threw him in the tag team division, you completely missed out on a good heel or face there with Bobby Roode. I think that Raw has really mishandled the usage of Bobby Roode.
I can say that, but I can say that, and it's easy to say that now. But when they brought him over to Raw, Raw had probably 10 main eventers on the show already. So it's like, you got Bobby Roode to bring in. How can you write him in? And you can barely write for the 10 main eventers you got right now. You got Bobby Lashley. You're building Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler up to be main eventers. They're main eventing like every other Raw, you know, as a faction. You had Roman Reigns. You had Braun Strowman. Seth Rollins is a big deal on the show. It was like, what were you going to do with a face Bobby Roode at this point that you were bringing over to Raw?
Yeah. And right now with Roman being out, that means they having to do a lot of changing and, you know, a lot of, okay, well, this person's got to be the man now since you got to have the face. Mm-hmm. So now they're trying to build Braun up as it and then make Braun back a good guy and then turn, you know, Drew into like one of the main top heels. But like I said, then you got Seth and, you know, your champion is still Brock Lesnar. So you still gotta, whenever he's going to fight, try to do something with him. Hopefully they're trying to start building Finn Balor as more of a main event since he's right now in this main event thing with Corbin and his team. But I mean, it's just they're still in the transition. They got so many people that they haven't turned all the way or in the midst of turning, and you still got Bray Wyatt about to come back, and don't know if he's you know he's been seen in the house shows, so don't know if he's going to come back a face or a heel.
I think he's going to come back as a heel. I think if he was coming back as a face, they probably would have went ahead and threw him out there. Especially when they're desperate right now.
No, I think he's going to come back as a face, but I think it's just going to take something to push him over the edge because I think he's going to align himself with Finn Balor.
I think he's going to hit Finn and Elias with this whole Drew McIntyre and them. Because if Bray comes back as a bad guy, what the hell are they going to do with that? With Bray, Dolph, Drew, Bobby. I mean, damn, just the entire both. That's again too many bad guys, too many big bad guys that are almost unstoppable. And then
I'm sorry, but let me. I hate to cut you off there, but if you did bring back Bray as a heel, the only person like realistically that you could possibly turn face there to help out would be somebody inconsequential, which will end up being somebody like Jinder or Mojo, somebody like that you would put in that spot. And like, you're not going to turn Mojo Rawley. Apollo Crews would have little to no effect on that situation.
They're trying to build him, but they haven't, you know, he got to get a following back.
Right, the only person who already had a following would have been Jinder out of that situation. And I don't think that Jinder is ready to hold the face reigns like he did the heel reigns when he was on SmackDown.
I don't think the fans are going to want to. He could probably handle it. I think the fans are going to still shit on him like they always have.
I'm going to have to agree with Lady Great One on that one, man. I think that it's big. And I'm a huge Jinder Mahal fan after he had his run on SmackDown, but he is a heel character. Like if I see a face Jinder Mahal is a joke. He's 3MB
Yeah.
when he's face. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like even the whole Shanti thing is funny, but it's like he's a joke. When he's face, like the only way he's gonna be taken seriously as a heel, or is when he's heel. I think that
I'm gonna say this about Jinder. I'm gonna say this about Jinder real quick. Excuse me. I hate to keep cutting you guys off, but this seems like the only way I can get a word in is if I cut you off. But when it comes to Jinder Mahal, for the history that Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre have, that actually might not be a bad thing for him to be face against the heel Drew. Just because of the history there. I wouldn't see that being so much of a bad thing as it would be against possibly Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman or whomever else he might be fighting at that particular time. But a face Jinder Mahal versus a heel Drew McIntyre, that could actually possibly work. And that could actually be something interesting because of their history together in 3MB with Heath Slater involved. But we know that Heath Slater ain't going to do shit. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Heath Slater ain't going to do nothing. He is barely lucky that he still has a job in WWE. I'm just going to put it out there as point blank and period as I can.
I think he could make a decent triple threat match for the Intercontinental title in a couple months. But that's about it. It'll be a nice little novelty. But really, I want Drew McIntyre to stay far away from both of them right now. Right now,
I can agree with that.
Drew is putting up top heel work right now. And it's great to see that because I know that Drew could also be a top face if they were to turn him face. Right now, he's probably, dare I say it, outside of Seth Rollins, he's probably my favorite talent on Raw right now.
Mr. VIP, I need you to go on mute. Mute your phone for a minute, sir.
There we go. All right, yeah, I think that Drew McIntyre is definitely my favorite talent on Raw right now, just as a talent alone. I think that he came back and he's shown that he definitely has a fire. He puts on a show every week like he wants to be there, and he doesn't even have to be involved in a title picture. And I think that's something that you don't see from other people, mainly from most of the roster. A lot of them are just there until they're in the spotlight, and then they want to show that they can show off when they're in the spotlight, but then when they're not in the spotlight anymore, they're unmotivated. And it's like, with that type of attitude floating around on TV, if it's that apparent for a viewer to be able to see that, it's no telling what it's like actually on the show. But yeah, Drew McIntyre, I think there's a lot of stuff.
I love Drew McIntyre. I've been behind Drew McIntyre since he was the chosen one talking about Te'e. I mean, I love Drew McIntyre. I've been in his corner since day one. And that's one of my guys that I completely enjoy all around. I mean, I love him as a heel. I love him as a face. I think that he can do so much more with the main event spotlight than a lot of the other guys on Raw can handle. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you there. Drew McIntyre is my choice to be the next number one contender. And I think that he can legitimately and realistically take the title off of Brock. With Braun Strowman being injured and everything, yeah, he's probably going to come back very soon. But I think that as far as quality goes, I think that Drew McIntyre has really stepped up to it, and he's really lived up to being the chosen one. He just needed to change a couple of things to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Drew, I think that Drew should be the one that beats Brock.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree.
Just the way that they've done Braun, I don't want to see him fight him again because they've already had him fight him so many times, and they just keep making him lose to him. Then it's going to be like, well, you can beat the hell out of everybody else, and then you just get your butt beat by Brock, and it's not consistent. Drew is the one who he should come in there, and that'll be like, you know, he needs to win. Come in there and like, I'll take on Brock and beat Brock legitimately. I mean, this dude, when he walks out from the curtain, you're like, this dude is a main event champion. Without him doing anything, just the way he looks, the long hair, the trench coat, just the look, the muscle mass that he's gotten now, his entire look, everything's just like, damn, this dude has got to be a champion. What the hell is his belt at? Because every time he walks out, you're like, this dude is amazing. And then his in-ring power, speed, high flying, I mean, he can do it all. Mm-hmm. And like Lady Great One said, he's the one that could take Brock out. You know, he's the one that's gonna be like, you know, I'm not scared of you. You're not gonna punk me down. I'm ready to go. You know, Heyman starts talking and shut the hell up. I'm gonna beat your ass. Claymore, knock him out. He tried to get back up. Claymore again. You're not gonna do any of the stuff you've done to everybody else. And he legitimately, no cheating at all, beats Brock and wins the title. And
Thank you. And somebody else sees my vision too. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything, man. Like, and the thing about with Drew McIntyre, what I was saying earlier is like he's one of the guys that I can see that could be a main eventer as a heel or face. Like, there's very few people who can successfully do both. And I think that Drew McIntyre has shown that he's one of those few people that can do that. Like you said, he's got the look, which he's always had the look. He just added on a lot of extra muscle. He just looks beastly now. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and then when he gets in the ring, you're like, wow, I was impressed with the look, but man, he's great in the ring. And then when you're impressed with the ring and the look, he gets on the microphone or has a segment, and you're like, oh my God, he can talk too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, he can do it all. And you can't really say that about a lot of people that have the look, the in-ring ability, and the mic work. As a matter of fact, I think that, I don't know if it was you who posted in the Game Runners earlier today, Mr. VIP, but somebody had made a post, or it might have been, I might have read the article on Google earlier today, but Jack Swagger had commented about Drew McIntyre, you know, saying that he really motivated him just by, you know, the way that he was able to leave WWE and go and carve out a name for himself and be one of the top talents in the world, and to come back and capitalize on that. And it's almost like Jack is pretty much saying like he wants to be able to do that as well. For somebody else that's not even in the company that will recognize that, like, it's a testament to, you know, how great Drew really is.
And that's like a lot of his first promos, a lot of promos he said, you know, I see all these people in the back, they're complacent. Mm-hmm. You know, I realized that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. I needed to go out and find out how good I was, make a better name for myself, come back 10 times better than what I was when I left. Because he was great when he left, but the way he came back now, you know, before he was good. Now he's a superstar. He is a main eventer. When he comes out, you can see him going against Cena and legitimately thinking he could beat him. Orton, all the big names, you could be like, okay, I can see this guy fighting against this person and legitimately think, you know, he gonna kill Cena. He gonna kill Orton. This dude can beat Brock. You know, if Roman was there, this guy can beat Roman. It's not like, well, he might be able to. This is a guy who they could talk back and forth. They could have the lead up to the match. Okay, great promos back and forth. In ring, great in ring. Everything like you said, and you're like, man, this guy has it. You know how they talk about the it factor. He has it, and he is like what Jack Swagger said. He is the model that a lot of people should take a look at. You know, he was good before, but he left, made a bigger name for himself, came back in amazing shape, amazing on the mic, and came back and said, you know what, I'm going to show I'm better than what I was before, and I'm better than what I was going around the world. and now he's came back and can instantly be a megastar. If he would have came back and won the title the first night, I'd be like, I believe it. I remember when he won the title at NXT, and I was like, when he got hurt, I'm like, just go on and bring him to the main roster. Don't have him in NXT. Bring him to the main roster because this guy needs to be going for the world title, for the Universal title. I was like, this guy is that good. He is amazing. Just put him on the main roster and let him go. And look what he's done since he's been there. The matches with Shield, all of them were amazing. And it's elevated everybody. Everybody's been elevated since he came. Look at Dolph now, actually important again. The matches with Braun, you know, it was somebody that actually Braun could have a fight with and not just completely dominate. It could be a huge challenge for Finn Balor to try to beat fellow countrymen, somebody that's bigger than him, but that can go just like he could. He can do the high flying, so can Drew.
Oh, you was doing so good there, man. I didn't even know how to follow up at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like Drew, I'm always going to be high on Drew McIntyre, but right now, like I said, he's definitely my top talent on Raw. Other than that, I mean, the only thing that we had for you guys tonight was the recap. We did discuss, you know, a lot of how we felt about NXT TakeOver versus Raw and SmackDown on the main roster. You know, I'll be by myself in saying that I thought the main roster pay-per-view was better this one time. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. It was definitely a great show. Mr. VIP, definitely glad to have you back on. We got to do this again next week. What we're going to do right now is we're going to jump into our final thought. Just for me personally, one of the things that we kind of skipped over when referring to the Survivor Series was one of the funnier moments. Enzo Amore. First and foremost, what's wrong with you, boy? What's wrong with this guy? It's like
I don't even know what to say about it.
He's trying to get attention.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's like, you know, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
He's trying to get attention.
This was the best time of his life when he was in WWE. He was on top of the world. And I think that everything with that case and then him getting fired, I think that he's on a very bad downward spiral. He thinks he can rap. And I really just want for those who are religious to say a couple of words of prayer for Enzo Amore. And hopefully he gets everything together. Hold
the thought. I can tell you what it is. Enzo Amore, he saw the stuff that was going down with James Ellsworth, and he figured if the thing that happened with Rich Swann and the thing that happened with James Ellsworth over here, what I did was not so bad. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, I'm looking at these aspects of the situation. I shouldn't have been fired. I was accused of something. I should not have ever been fired from there. Yeah, Cass, he wrote his own story. So, therefore, I didn't do anything as bad as him. I didn't do anything as bad as Rich Swann. I didn't do anything bad as James Ellsworth. Why am I still unhired? Why can't I come back? These people done worse than me. They're not allowed to come back, but I didn't do something that's so bad. Actually, I was proven innocent. So why can't I come back to the spotlight, to the forefront, to come back to making that damn paycheck the same way that I did before? That's what I see with Enzo Amore. And I can't say that he's completely wrong on that. Yeah, he may have not have picked the best time to do that, but I can say this. He has a point and he is right. And I think that with looking at what other people have done in comparison to what he was accused of doing, and I have to keep saying accused because he was not proven guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty, and he is still innocent because he was not proven guilty with that girl. So therefore, he should get his job back. That's all I have to say about it.
I think like Lady Grey One, I think he's trying to get his job back. He wants that life again. Like I said, instead of just going to the back and trying to talk to somebody or go in the back and talk to Vince or something, I think he's just trying to do anything he can to just try to get his job back. I don't really know. I don't think they know if they did bring him back, what the hell they would do with him besides be a manager, because that's really what I think the only thing he should be doing, being a manager for somebody. But I think he just wants to. He's trying to get back in the WWE, trying to make a name for himself. Maybe he got up, and if he would have stood up and everybody would have started chanting his name and started saying "realest guy in the room" or whatever, then, you know, if he could have got a big enough pop, maybe he would have gotten Vince's attention or, you know, somebody's attention and be like, oh shoot, you know, maybe we need to bring this guy back. You know, he still has.
Enzo Amore.
Yeah.
Oh, Enzo Amore. Okay, sorry, I had to pull out the chant there that they could have possibly done, but they didn't.
But I think that was pretty much what he wanted. He's just trying to get back. And he's a loud, boisterous person. I don't know why the hell he just won't go to, you know, Impact or some company that will pay him because they need somebody in their company. But that's basically, he's just trying to get back in. And that's his whole character and personality is loud and boisterous. I'll make some noise, bring the noise, you know. If he would have got a microphone, he would have ran and jumped over the thing and started cutting a promo or started rapping or something if he could have. So, he's just, I don't know. He wants to be back in the spotlight. That's basically it.
Well, y'all kind of hijacked my final thought there a little bit.
Not you asking us.
No. It was more so, like I said, I think that, you know, Enzo definitely wants the attention. I think that he's at a difficult point in his life right now where I don't think that he is as big of a talent as he thought he was. And maybe he's not really getting a chance to get signed by any of these other companies out there. Because, I mean, outside of the whole case that he had, we also know that he wasn't really loved in the locker room. He wasn't really loved by upper management or staff. And with those two things going against you, and you're not really the best wrestler in the world on top of that, I don't think that the phone is going to be ringing off of the hook per se for you. Now, he's going to be a major signing by whoever signs him. But the question that you would probably want to ask yourself is, do you want all the bad publicity that may come along with that as well? And I think that Enzo probably needs to change a couple of things, like the whole sitting in the crowd during a pay-per-view and trying to hijack the show and do your chants and everything. It sounds good on paper. You know, it's trying to, you know, it would be like in a movie where you're that guy and you're trying to win the girl back and you bust in on the wedding and try to show everybody how much of a good guy, and as in one last hope of, you know, maybe she'll come to her senses and take me back. When in all actuality, you were just a very big distraction and you got other people hurt within the time frame. So, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of Enzo supporters out there. I was once an Enzo supporter, but currently, for me personally, Enzo, get your shit together. And that's all I'm going to leave on my final thought for that. Mr. VIP, what you got for us?
I guess my final thought is basically, especially Raw. I had posted a thing on Game Runners earlier that Vince Russo said to Vince, and he was like, can you please start caring? So many loyal fans deserve better than what you're giving us. And I was like, I actually agree. I mean, Raw, I mean, it wasn't good. And I just think, you know, just put out some better product, you know. If we can get the shows that like NXT and stuff has, you know, throughout Raw and SmackDown, I think that would make it so much better. I think they need to make a draft or something because it's a lot of imbalance in both shows. Too many heels, not enough really over faces, and no tag teams. And I think they just need to find something to fix their product to make it more interesting. Yeah, that's basically my final thought.
All right, Lady Great One.
Okay, my final thought comes from the heart. If you're going to put out a show, regardless of whether it's Raw, NXT, SmackDown, 205, if you're putting out a WWE product, make sure that you're listening to your fans and giving them what they want. I mean, there are so many things that happened during Survivor Series that could have been changed by a certain call up, or the Raw after could have been changed by a call up. When Seth Rollins did his open challenge, it would have made a huge, huge difference had Aleister Black or had Velveteen Dream or had even Lars Sullivan come out and answer that challenge. You're going to go back to do that and let it be the way that John Cena did when he had the United States title open challenge, when he had those type of call-ups there. I mean, Sami Zayn came out of nowhere. Yes, Sami Zayn was still a part of the NXT brand. Kevin Owens was the current NXT champion when he came out for a call-up. And you instead waste your call-up on Dolph Ziggler. No offense to Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins always put up a worthy fight. But wouldn't it have been a little bit better had it have been a Velveteen Dream to come out and answer that call? Wouldn't it have been a little bit better had it have been Aleister Black come out and answer that call? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if you're going to do any sort of open challenge, be it Raw or SmackDown, you pull somebody from the depths that can actually go, and these are matches that you want to see. If Adam Cole would have came out and answered these open challenges, how many people would have been behind Adam Cole in a comparison to Seth Rollins? Amazing. That whole thing would have been so super over. Yeah, he doesn't have to stay on the show the entire time. No, I'm not saying to call him up and put him on Raw, but for a one-time only deal, absolutely. One time only, you pull up Adam Cole, you pull up Kyle O'Reilly, you pull up Cassius Ono, you pull up Ricochet, you pull up other people. If you're going to do an open challenge, keep it open. Don't keep the same old stale match that nobody wants to see anymore. No offense to Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, because anytime that they work together, there's a great match. But still, there are other people that you could have put in your spots. I'm just saying, look to your future, not to your past, and keep it moving. And that's my swerves and curves for the night.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, well, that was definitely a great, heartfelt final thought. I definitely wholeheartedly agree with that. And that is a good note to end the show on. Once again, it's been a great one. We will see you guys again next week. But as for right now, this episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends, the podcast, out.